Liam Vance, a single dad, was barely making ends meet, pouring every ounce of himself into supporting his daughter, Chloe. One sunny afternoon, Chloe set up her tiny stand outside their worn apartment building, her hand-woven bracelets sparkling with hope. She didn't know that the sophisticated woman who bought her very first piece was about to unlock a future neither of them could have ever dreamed of, changing their lives in a way a simple act of love couldn't have predicted. Before we carry on, please hit the subscribe button to make my day, and let me know where you are watching from in the comments. The chipped paint of the apartment building's entrance gleamed faintly in the late afternoon sun, a tired testament to countless city winters and sweltering summers. Liam Vance, his shoulders slightly slumped from a long shift of delivering packages, pushed open the heavy glass door, the familiar squeak, a mundane soundtrack to his perpetually stretched existence. His hands, calloused and strong, held not just a set of keys, but the weight of an entire world, the precious, vibrant world of his daughter, Chloe. Chloe, a whirlwind of joyful determination, was already at her makeshift stand, a wobbly card table draped with an old, brightly colored bedsheet. On it, arranged with meticulous care, lay an assortment of hand-woven bracelets, each a tiny explosion of color and intricate patterns. At 9 years old, Chloe possessed an artistic flair that seemed to defy their cramped living quarters, a boundless imagination that found expression in vibrant threads and delicate knots. "Dad, you're here!" Chloe's voice, a clear bell of excitement, cut through the city's low hum. She bounced on the balls of her feet, her red pigtails bobbing with enthusiasm. "I've arranged them by color, just like we practiced. And I made a new design, look." She held up a bracelet, its strands of shimmering blue and silver, interwoven with surprising elegance. Liam's tired face softened instantly. He might be exhausted, the city a relentless, unforgiving beast, but Chloe's infectious optimism was his unending fuel. He knelt beside her, his large frame momentarily dwarfing the small stand. "That's beautiful, sweet pea," he praised, genuinely impressed by the new design. "Someone's going to be very lucky to wear that." The idea of selling bracelets had been Chloe's, born from a desire to contribute, to alleviate some of the unspoken burdens she sensed in her father's life. Their finances were a tightrope walk, a constant balancing act between rent, groceries, and the occasional, much-desired treat for Chloe. Liam worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3, patching together enough hours to keep their heads above water. Luxuries were a distant dream, but Chloe's entrepreneurial spirit, however small, was a beacon of hope. "Are you sure it's okay, Dad?" Chloe asked, her voice a little hesitant, her bright eyes searching his. "To sell them out here?" Liam glanced around the busy street. People hurried past, their faces intent, their steps quick. It wasn't a bustling marketplace, just a sidewalk outside their apartment building, a small patch of public space in a sprawling, indifferent metropolis. But it was safe, visible, and Chloe's own idea. "It's more than okay, sweet pea," he reassured her, ruffling her pigtails. "You worked hard on these. They're worth every penny." He pulled a worn wooden chair from inside the building's lobby and placed it behind the table, a silent promise of his protective presence. He would sit there, ostensibly reading a newspaper or checking his phone, but his senses would be attuned to every passerby, every glance directed at his daughter. The first hour was slow. People glanced. Some offered a polite smile, but no one stopped. Chloe's initial excitement began to wane, replaced by a faint shadow of disappointment. Liam's heart ached for her. He knew the feeling well, the sting of effort unrewarded, of hope slowly deflating. He wished he could buy every single bracelet himself, but even that small indulgence felt like a luxury they couldn't afford. Just as the sun dipped lower, casting long, dramatic shadows across the pavement, a sleek black car glided to a stop at the curb. A woman emerged, elegant and poised, her dark, tailored suit a stark contrast to the faded brick of the building. She moved with an air of quiet confidence, her gaze sweeping over the street before settling, with a curious intensity, on Chloe's small, colorful display. She approached the table, her steps measured, her expression unreadable. Chloe, usually so effervescent, suddenly grew shy, her small hands clutching the edge of the table. Liam instinctively straightened in his chair, his protective instincts on high alert. There was something about this woman, an aura of undeniable power, that set her apart from the usual hurried pedestrians. The woman knelt, her gaze intent on the bracelets. Her fingers, long and slender, adorned with understated rings, gently brushed against the woven threads. She picked up the blue and silver design, the one Chloe had crafted that morning. Her eyes, a striking shade of emerald green, seemed to scrutinize every knot, every loop, every detail of the humble piece. "This one," she said, her voice smooth, cultured, carrying a hint of a quiet authority. "It's exquisite. The symmetry, the color combination, there's a distinct hand in this." She looked up, her gaze meeting Chloe's wide, hopeful eyes, then shifted to Liam, a flicker of something unreadable in her emerald depths. "How much?" she asked, her voice calm. Chloe, momentarily stunned by the compliment, managed to stammer, $5. The woman smiled, a small, genuine curve of her lips. She produced a crisp $20 bill from her small, elegant purse. "Keep the change," she said, her voice gentle, as she fastened the bracelet onto her wrist. It looked strangely out of place, yet undeniably striking, against the expensive fabric of her suit jacket. She stood, offering a polite nod to Liam, a warm smile to Chloe. "Thank you. This is truly a treasure." With that, she turned, slid back into her sleek car, and was gone, vanishing into the city's endless flow. Chloe stared after the car, her mouth slightly agape, then looked down at the $20 bill clutched in her hand. "She bought it, Dad," she whispered, her voice filled with a mixture of awe and disbelief. "She really bought one." Liam watched the spot where the car had been, a strange premonition stirring within him. He didn't know who that woman was, or why she had chosen Chloe's bracelet, but as he saw the pure, unadulterated joy on his daughter's face, a warmth spread through him, deeper and more profound than any fatigue. He had no idea that this single transaction, this fleeting encounter on a busy city sidewalk, was about to change everything. The sale of the blue and silver bracelet and the $20 bill it generated became a moment of quiet triumph for Chloe. She carefully folded the money, placing it in a small, decorated tin that served as her burgeoning business's treasury. The encounter with the elegant woman, a fleeting yet impactful moment, seemed to infuse Chloe's bracelet making with a renewed sense of purpose. She worked with even greater dedication, her small fingers flying through the threads, her imagination constantly conjuring new patterns and color combinations. Liam watched her, a poignant mix of pride and apprehension in his heart. He celebrated every small victory with her, every new sale to a friendly neighbor or a curious passerby. But the city was a tough place, and while he cherished Chloe's dreams, he was also keenly aware of the stark realities of their lives. He often found himself wrestling with the dichotomy, fostering her artistic spirit versus preparing her for a world that demanded practicality. He continued his arduous work schedule, the early mornings and late nights blurring into a monotonous cycle. The money from package deliveries and kitchen shifts barely covered their expenses, leaving little room for error or unexpected costs. He tried to shield Chloe from the constant worry, presenting a brave, optimistic front, but he knew she was perceptive, sensing the unspoken burdens he carried. A week after the mysterious woman's purchase, the weather took a sudden turn. The chill wind swept through the city, carrying with it the first biting edge of autumn. The sidewalk outside their apartment building, usually bustling, became a less inviting place for Chloe's outdoor enterprise. Liam suggested they move her operations indoors, perhaps set up a small display in the lobby. But Chloe insisted on braving the elements for a little longer, fueled by the lingering excitement of her recent TBA success. Liam sat in his usual spot, bundled in a worn jacket, nursing a lukewarm cup of coffee, his newspaper a flimsy shield against the encroaching cold, and his own anxieties. Chloe, her nose a little red from the nippy air, meticulously arranged her bracelets, her fingers nimble despite the chill. Sales were slow, the pedestrians hurrying past with collars pulled high, their focus on reaching their destinations. Just as Liam was about to suggest they call it a day, a familiar sleek, black car pulled up to the curb. His breath hitched slightly in his throat. It was her. The elegant woman, dressed just as impeccably as before, stepped out, her emerald eyes scanning the street, then settling, with a distinct purpose, on Chloe's small stand. Chloe, seeing her, gasped softly, her eyes widening in recognition. Liam felt a familiar prickle of protectiveness. This visit felt different, more deliberate than the first. The woman approached, a large, tasteful leather portfolio clutched in her hand. "Hello again," the woman said, her voice calm and composed, as she reached the table. Her gaze lingered on Chloe's face, then swept over the new array of bracelets. "I hope you remember me." Chloe, shy but excited, managed a small nod. "You bought the blue one." The woman smiled, a warmth emanating from her that belied her sophisticated demeanor. "Indeed I did. And I've worn it every day since." She extended her wrist, and there, nestled against the cuff of her exquisite blouse, was Chloe's hand-woven bracelet, its blue and silver threads still vibrant. "It's truly remarkable. The craftsmanship, the unique aesthetic. It's quite captivating." She then turned her gaze to Liam, her emerald eyes direct and piercing. "Mr. Vance, I presume?" Liam nodded, a slight knot forming in his stomach. "Yes, ma'am. Liam Vance. My name is Vivian Dubois," she stated, her voice carrying an undeniable authority. "I own and operate Dubois Jewels. Perhaps you've heard of us?" Liam's mind reeled. Dubois Jewels. The name was synonymous with luxury, with high-end, global jewelry. Their advertisements graced the pages of glossy magazines he occasionally glimpsed in doctors' waiting rooms. Their stores were in the most exclusive districts, far removed from their humble apartment building. The sheer incongruity of this woman, this titan of the jewelry world, standing before them, admiring Chloe's $5 bracelets, was dizzying. "Dubois Jewels?" Liam repeated, his voice barely a whisper, a disbelieving laugh threatening to bubble up. "Yes, ma'am. I've heard of you." Vivian Dubois' smile broadened, a knowing glint in her eyes. "Good, because I haven't come merely to admire. I've come with an offer." She opened the leather portfolio, revealing a stack of meticulously prepared documents. "Chloe's designs, Mr. Vance, possess a rare quality, a unique blend of youthful innocence and sophisticated artistry. They resonate, and I believe they have immense potential." She looked at Chloe, then back at Liam. "I want to offer Chloe a licensing agreement. We would feature her designs as a new collection. Chloe's Charms, under the Dubois Jewels brand. We would handle all manufacturing, marketing, and distribution. Chloe would receive a significant percentage of every sale, a royalty that would ensure her future. And quote, "Yours, Mr. Vance, would be considerably different." Liam stared at her, speechless. A licensing agreement? For Chloe's bracelets? Under a global brand like Dubois Jewels? It was an offer so audacious, so utterly unbelievable, that it felt like a cruel trick of the light, a hallucination brought on by exhaustion and worry. His daughter's small, artistic hobby, born from a desire to help her struggling father, was suddenly being presented as the key to a future he could only have ever dreamed of. The implications of Vivian Dubois' words, the magnitude of the opportunity, hit him with the force of a tidal wave, leaving him breathless and utterly bewildered. The chill wind continued to whip around them, but Liam felt a sudden, inexplicable warmth spread through his chest, a sensation that had nothing to do with the weather. Vivian Dubois, the formidable CEO of Dubois Jewels, stood before them, her offer hanging in the crisp autumn air like a shimmering, impossible mirage. Liam's mind, usually so pragmatic, struggled to process the sheer audacity of her proposal. A licensing agreement? Liam finally managed to stammer, his voice a little hoarse, his gaze flickering between Vivian Dubois' composed face and the thick documents in her portfolio. "For Chloe's bracelets?" Vivian nodded, her emerald eyes unwavering, an almost imperceptible hint of amusement playing at the corners of her lips. "Precisely. We believe Chloe's designs, with their fresh perspective and inherent charm, would appeal to a global market. Our aim is to launch a new collection, Chloe's Charms. That captures this unique spirit. Chloe would be credited as the designer, of course, and would receive a substantial royalty on every piece sold. This isn't a one-time purchase, Mr. Vance. This is a partnership. Liam felt a dizzying mix of disbelief and a nascent hope. His daughter's hobby, born from a desire to help him, was suddenly being presented as the golden ticket to a future free from constant financial strain. He thought of the endless shifts, the worn-out shoes, the sacrifices he had made. Could this truly be happening? Chloe, meanwhile, her initial shyness replaced by an almost defiant curiosity, piped up, "My bracelets? In big fancy stores?" Her voice was small, but filled with a wonder that cut through Liam's adult anxieties. Vivian turned to Chloe, her expression softening. "Yes, Chloe. In our stores around the world. Imagine your beautiful designs, crafted with the finest materials, reaching people who appreciate their unique beauty. It would be a celebration of your talent." And Liam, ever the protector, felt a surge of caution. This was too good to be true. There had to be a catch, a hidden clause that would exploit Chloe's innocence or their vulnerability. "What exactly would this entail, Ms. Dubois?" he asked, his voice firm, trying to inject a note of professional skepticism into the surreal conversation. "What are the terms?" Vivian, anticipating his questions, flipped open her portfolio to a highlighted section. "The terms are straightforward. We would acquire the exclusive rights to reproduce and market Chloe's existing designs, and any future designs she creates for the Chloe's Charms collection. In return, Chloe would receive a 10% royalty on the wholesale price of every item sold. We would also provide a substantial upfront advance, ensuring Chloe's immediate financial security and the ability to continue her artistic development without worry. A 10% royalty. An upfront advance." Liam's mind, accustomed to counting pennies, struggled to compute the potential figures. This wasn't just about alleviating financial strain. This was about genuine financial freedom, about opportunities he couldn't have even imagined for Chloe. "And what about Chloe's involvement?" Liam pressed, his gaze still fixed on the documents. "She's only 9. We wouldn't want her to be exploited." Vivian's expression became serious, her emerald eyes meeting his. "Mr. Vance, I understand your concerns, and they are entirely valid. Chloe's well-being is paramount. Her involvement would be entirely voluntary and carefully managed. She would primarily be a creative consultant, providing new designs and approving prototypes. We would never allow her to be overexposed or pressured. This is about nurturing her talent, not exploiting it. We would ensure her education remains her top priority, and her involvement would be limited to what is comfortable and enjoyable for her." She closed the portfolio, her gaze earnest. "I saw something truly special in that first bracelet, Mr. Vance. It's not just about the design, it's about the heart. And I believe in fostering that kind of authentic creativity. This isn't simply a business venture for me. It's an opportunity to bring something genuine and joyful to the jewelry world, and to support a young talent who deserves every opportunity." Liam looked down at Chloe, who was now gazing at Vivian Dubois with an expression of utter fascination, her initial shyness replaced by a burgeoning excitement. He saw the spark of a dream taking root, a possibility far beyond the confines of their small apartment and the worn sidewalk. He thought of the struggles, the sacrifices, the constant worry about the future. This was a chance to give Chloe not just a better life, but a chance to truly flourish, to explore her incredible talent without the constant weight of financial strain. We'd need time to think about it, Ms. Dubois," Liam said, his voice still a little unsteady, "and perhaps have a lawyer look over these documents." Vivian smiled, a genuine warm smile that softened her formidable demeanor. "Of course. That's precisely what I would expect. Take all the time you need. Our legal team will be happy to answer any questions your representative may have. My assistant will reach out to schedule a follow-up meeting." She offered a polite nod, a reassuring glance at Chloe, and then, with the same quiet elegance, she slid back into her sleek car and disappeared once more into the city's endless flow. Liam stood there, the cold wind whipping around him, but the warmth in his chest remained. Chloe, clutching her little tin of money, bounced on her toes, her face alight with an almost ethereal glow. "Dad, did you hear that? But bracelets! In a real store!" Liam pulled her into a tight hug, his mind still reeling, but a profound sense of hope blossoming in his heart. The simple act of a girl selling bracelets and a dad watching protectively had somehow intersected with the world of global luxury, opening a door to a future they never dared to dream of. The city, which had always felt so indifferent, suddenly seemed to hum with possibility. The days following Vivian Dubois' extraordinary offer were a blur of bewildered hope and cautious optimism for Liam. He spent hours poring over the documents Vivian had left, his brow furrowed in concentration. Legal jargon, clauses, and percentages swirled before his eyes, a language foreign to his world of package deliveries and diner shifts. He felt overwhelmed, out of his depth, but a fierce determination to protect Chloe and understand every detail propelled him forward. He sought advice from a pro bono legal clinic he found through a community center. The young lawyer, initially skeptical, grew increasingly wide-eyed as Liam recounted the story and presented the Dubois Jewels proposal. Her initial assessment, after a thorough review, confirmed the unbelievable. The offer was legitimate, comprehensive, and surprisingly fair, even generous, for a first-time licensing agreement. The advance alone, she explained, would be life-changing. "Mr. Vance," the lawyer said, her voice filled with a mixture of professional awe and personal excitement, "this isn't just an opportunity. This is monumental. It's truly remarkable that a company of Dubois Jewels' caliber would seek out an unknown talent this way. It speaks volumes about the perceived value of Chloe's Compra designs." Liam felt a tremor of emotion. Value. He had always seen value in Chloe's creations, but it was the value of a father's love, a testament to her innocent joy. To hear a professional speak of their commercial value, their global potential, was a concept almost too vast to grasp. Chloe, meanwhile, continued her artistic endeavors with an even greater fervor. She drew new designs in her notebook, her crayons sketching intricate patterns that seemed to dance with life. She talked endlessly about her ideas for Chloe's charms, envisioning bracelets that told stories, bracelets that brought joy to people around the world. Her dreams, once confined to their small apartment, now stretched to distant horizons. Liam watched her, a poignant mix of pride and trepidation. Her innocence was a precious thing, and he was determined to shield it from the potentially overwhelming glare of the commercial world. The follow-up meeting with Vivian Dubois took place a week later, not on the sidewalk, but in a sleek, glass-fronted office high above the city. Liam, dressed in his slightly too tight, only suit, felt a wave of intimidation as he stepped into the opulent lobby, the hushed whispers of impeccably dressed employees echoing around him. Chloe, however, walked beside him with a quiet confidence, her bright eyes absorbing every detail of the gleaming, modern space. Vivian Dubois greeted them with a warm, genuine smile, her presence as commanding as ever, but also imbued with a surprising accessibility. She led them to a bright, minimalist conference room with panoramic views of the city skyline. The discussions were thorough, covering legal terms, design development, marketing strategies, and most importantly, Chloe's involvement. "Chloe," Vivian said, turning directly to her, her voice gentle yet firm, "your education is paramount. We want you to enjoy this process, to be inspired, but never to feel pressured. We will assign a dedicated design liaison to work with you, someone who can help translate your ideas into manufacturable designs without compromising your unique vision. Your role will be about creativity, not commerce." Chloe's eyes lit up. "I get to draw them and choose the colors?" "Exactly," Vivian confirmed, a genuine smile on her face. "And approve the prototypes. You will be the creative heart of this collection." Liam listened intently, his initial wariness slowly giving way to a profound sense of relief. Vivian Dubois wasn't just a shrewd businesswoman. She was also a woman of integrity, someone who genuinely seemed to value Chloe's talent and well-being. She spoke of ethical sourcing, of fair labor practices, of giving back to communities, principles that resonated deeply with Liam's own values. As the meeting concluded, with both parties expressing their intent to move forward, Vivian turned to Liam, her gaze softening. "Mr. Vance, I understand this has been a whirlwind, but I truly believe this is a unique opportunity for Chloe to shine and for your family to find the stability and opportunities you deserve." Liam, his voice thick with emotion, could only manage a heartfelt, "Thank you, Ms. Dubois. Thank you for seeing something in my daughter." Vivian reached across the table, her hand briefly resting on his. "The talent was always there, Mr. Vance. I simply helped provide the platform." Leaving the gleaming skyscraper, Chloe skipped ahead, her steps light, her laughter bubbling up into the cool city air. Liam walked behind her, his mind swirling with the implications of the day. The upfront advance would clear their debts, provide a comfortable cushion, and allow him to cut back on his most grueling work hours. The royalties would secure Chloe's future, ensuring her education, her dreams, her ability to pursue whatever path she chose. He looked at Chloe. So small, yet so full of a burgeoning potential. He thought of all the times he had worried, all the sleepless nights, all the moments he had feared he wouldn't be enough. And then, a simple act of a little girl selling bracelets, a single transaction on a sidewalk, had somehow intersected with the force of nature, transforming their lives in ways he could never have imagined. The city, which had once felt so indifferent, now seemed to hum with a quiet promise. Their small apartment, once a symbol of their struggle, was now a launching pad for dreams. Liam Vance, the struggling dad, had done his best to protect his daughter, to provide for her. But it was Chloe, with her simple, beautiful creations, who had opened the door to a future that glittered with possibilities. And in the radiant joy on her face, Liam knew, with an unshakable certainty, that this unexpected journey was only just beginning. The launch of Chloe's Charms was an event that transformed their lives, not just financially, but in every conceivable way. Months of meticulous work, countless design sessions, and the careful selection of materials culminated in a dazzling display at a high-profile industry event. Liam and Chloe, guided by Vivian Dubois' experienced hand, found themselves thrust into a world of flashing cameras, hushed admiration, and genuine excitement. Chloe, remarkably composed for a 10-year-old, handled the attention with an innate grace. Dressed in a charming, age-appropriate dress, she spoke confidently about her inspirations, her love for color, and the stories behind each bracelet design. Her authenticity was her greatest charm, captivating everyone who met her. Liam, standing protectively by her side, watched her with an overwhelming sense of pride, his heart swelling with every word she spoke. He was no longer just the struggling dad. He was the proud father of a burgeoning artist, a young visionary. The collection was an instant success. Chloe's Charms flew off the shelves, their simple elegance and heartfelt origin story resonating with consumers worldwide. The royalties began to pour in, a steady stream of income that irrevocably altered their financial landscape. Liam was able to quit his grueling delivery and diner jobs, the constant ache of exhaustion replaced by a newfound energy. He dedicated himself fully to supporting Chloe's burgeoning career and to managing their new reality. Their apartment, once a symbol of their cramped existence, became a creative hub. Chloe had her own dedicated art space, filled with threads, beads, and sketchbooks. Liam, now with more time, learned about basic accounting, legal contracts, and the intricacies of the jewelry industry, adapting with surprising speed to their new, prosperous life. He still woke early, but now it was to review reports or plan Chloe's schedule, not to face another demanding shift. Vivian Dubois, true to her word, remained a mentor and a friend. She ensured Chloe's education remained paramount, limiting her involvement to creative sessions and occasional, carefully managed public appearances. She provided guidance, not just in business, but in navigating the complexities of fame and fortune, reminding Liam and Chloe that their core values, their integrity, and their genuine connection were the most precious assets. Chloe continued to design with boundless enthusiasm, her creativity flourishing in the supportive environment. Her designs evolved, incorporating new materials and techniques, but always retaining the signature whimsy and heartfelt charm that had first captivated Vivian. She often collaborated with other young artists, fostering a sense of community that delighted Liam. One afternoon, as they were reviewing designs for a new collection, Chloe looked up from her sketchbook, her brow furrowed in thought. "Dad," she began, "I've been thinking. All this, it came from selling bracelets on the sidewalk, right?" Liam nodded, a soft smile on his face. "It did, sweet pea. Your first customer changed everything." "Well, Chloe continued, her eyes bright with a new idea. What if we did something for other kids? Kids who have ideas, who want to make things, but maybe don't have all the materials or a fancy art space? Like I used to. Liam's heart swelled. This was Chloe, pure and generous. Her success hadn't made her forget her roots. It had inspired her to reach out. What are you thinking? He asked, a sense of excited anticipation building within him. Chloe's smile broadened. A workshop. A place where kids can come, get materials, learn new crafts, and maybe even sell their own creations. Like a little market, but for kids. We could call it Chloe's Community Craft Corner. Liam looked at her, his vision suddenly expanding beyond their own comfortable lives. This wasn't just about giving back. It was about fostering the same spark of creativity and entrepreneurship that had transformed their world. It was about paying it forward, building a legacy not just for themselves, but for their wider community. He took Chloe's hand, his gaze meeting hers, a profound sense of purpose filling him. That's a wonderful idea, Sweet Pea. A truly wonderful idea. Let's talk to Vivian. I think she'd love it. The idea of Chloe's Community Craft Corner became their next big project, a venture that combined Chloe's artistic vision with Liam's newfound administrative skills and Vivian Dubois' philanthropic interests. They secured a space in their old neighborhood, a vacant storefront that had long been an eyesore. With funds from Chloe's royalties and a generous donation from Dubois Jewels, they transformed it into a vibrant, welcoming hub filled with colorful art supplies, sturdy work tables, and an atmosphere of boundless creativity. The opening day of the craft corner was a joyous occasion. Children from the neighborhood, their eyes wide with wonder, poured into the space, eager to explore the endless possibilities of creation. Chloe, beaming with pride, demonstrated how to weave a bracelet, her fingers moving with practiced ease, her laughter echoing through the brightly lit room. Liam, standing at the entrance, watched the scene unfold, a profound sense of gratitude washing over him. He thought back to that afternoon, years ago, on the sidewalk outside their apartment, watching Chloe sell her first bracelet. He had been a struggling dad, full of worry and uncertainty. He had merely wanted to protect his little girl, to help her chase a small, innocent dream. He had no idea that a single act of kindness, a seemingly ordinary transaction, would set in motion a chain of events that would not only transform their own lives, but empower a community, fostering creativity and hope in countless other children. His protective stance had given way to a supportive embrace, not just for Chloe, but for an entire future he had never dared to imagine. The success of Chloe's Community Craft Corner quickly transcended their initial expectations, evolving into a vibrant hub of creativity and entrepreneurial spirit for children in the neighborhood. Liam found immense satisfaction in its daily operations, the joyful cacophony of young voices, the focused concentration of tiny hands weaving, painting, and sculpting. He spearheaded outreach programs, ensuring the craft corner was accessible to all, forging partnerships with local schools and community organizations. He discovered a deep well of leadership within himself, a natural ability to connect with people and foster their potential, a far cry from the quiet, self-contained man he once was. Chloe, now a young woman blossoming into her own, continued to be the creative force behind Chloe's charms. Her designs matured, gaining a sophistication that seamlessly blended with the whimsical charm of her early work. She often returned to the craft corner, not as a celebrity, but as a mentor, patiently guiding aspiring young artists, sharing her journey, and reminding them that true success came from passion and perseverance. She had an innate ability to inspire, a testament to her generous spirit. Their home, the apartment that had once felt so confining, now radiated a comforting warmth. It was filled with laughter, with the scent of Lydia's home-cooked meals, and the quiet hum of their shared lives. Liam and Lydia had found a deep, abiding contentment in their partnership, built on mutual respect, shared values, and a profound appreciation for the extraordinary journey they had walked together. They celebrated every milestone, every small victory, their gratitude for the path they had been given, a constant, unspoken undercurrent in their daily lives. One particularly warm summer evening, as the craft corner prepared for its annual art fair, a small local news crew arrived, eager to capture the story of Chloe's continued success and the positive impact of her initiative. Liam, standing proudly beside Chloe as she spoke to the reporter, found himself reflecting on the unexpected twists and turns of their lives. "Chloe," the reporter asked, her microphone extended, "what would you say was the most pivotal moment in your journey, from selling bracelets on the sidewalk to building this incredible community space?" Chloe smiled, her gaze drifting to Liam, then to the entrance of the craft corner where children were busily putting finishing touches on their creations. "It wasn't just one moment," she said, her voice clear and thoughtful. "It was a series of moments. It was my dad, sitting there, watching me, protecting me, even when he was exhausted. It was him believing in me, even when no one else stopped. And then, it was Vivian Dubois, seeing something in a little girl's handmade bracelet that no one else saw. It was her generosity, her vision, that opened the door." She paused, then added, her voice tinged with emotion, "But mostly, it was knowing that even the smallest act of creativity, fueled by love, can create something bigger than you ever imagined. This craft corner, it's not just about art. It's about hope. It's about giving kids a chance to find their own creative spark, just like I did." Liam, listening to her, felt a profound swelling in his chest. Chloe had grown into a remarkable young woman, not just talented, but deeply compassionate, grounded in the values they had always cherished. He remembered the constant worry, the fear of not being enough, the desperate struggle to make ends meet. He had simply wanted to protect her, to foster her small, innocent dream. He had never dared to dream that her dream, and his own quiet efforts, would ripple outward, touching so many lives. The news segment aired a few weeks later, a heartwarming story that showcased the vibrant energy of the craft corner and the inspiring journey of Chloe and Liam. After it finished, Liam and Lydia sat in comfortable silence, the television screen now displaying a commercial. "She's truly incredible, isn't she?" Lydia whispered, her voice filled with pride. "She is," Liam agreed, his gaze still fixed on the blank screen, his mind replaying Chloe's words. He realized that the narrative of their lives wasn't just about financial success or public recognition. It was about the quiet, often unseen, evolution of a father's love, from fierce protection to steadfast support, and finally, to profound admiration. It was about the daughter who, in her innocence and creativity, had become a catalyst for not just their own transformation, but for the flourishing of an entire community. The story of the struggling dad and his daughter, who helped her sell bracelets, had become a legend in their corner of the city. It was a story told in whispers, in local newspapers, and now, even on national television. But for Liam, the truest story was whispered in the quiet moments. In the shared glances with Lydia, in the knowledge that Chloe, their precious girl, was not just building a career, but building a better world, one vibrant, hopeful bracelet at a time. And in that, he found his ultimate purpose, his truest legacy, far beyond the initial, desperate hope for a few dollars on a sidewalk. Years continued their steady march, leaving gentle marks of time on the Vance family and their cherished surroundings. The treehouse, now a truly venerable structure in the backyard, bore the patina of countless seasons, its wood weathered to a soft silver gray, its painted accents muted but still vibrant. It was no longer just a play space, but a quiet alcove for contemplation, a repository of memories for Liam, Lydia, and particularly for Chloe, who revisited it during her increasingly rare trips home. Chloe, now a recognized figure in ethical jewelry design and community empowerment, was a whirlwind of global activity. Her, Chloe's Charms line continued to evolve, integrating sustainable practices and fair trade partnerships into its core. Beyond the designs, her energy was channeled into expanding the Community Craft Corner model to other cities, fostering creative hubs where children from disadvantaged backgrounds could discover their own talents. She was a beacon of change, embodying the very spirit of hope and opportunity that had been unexpectedly granted to her. Liam and Lydia, observing Chloe's soaring trajectory, found a deep, quiet contentment in their later years. Liam had fully embraced his role as a mentor and guide within the Legacy Builds program, now broadened to include various forms of community-driven artistry. He traveled less, preferring to dedicate his time to developing local workshops and advising aspiring project leaders. His strength, once manifested in grueling labor, now lay in his patience, his profound understanding of human potential, and his ability to inspire through his own lived experience. Lydia, ever the meticulous organizer, continued her work in community development, her efforts now focused on creating sustainable programs for the elderly and ensuring vibrant intergenerational connections within their neighborhood. Their shared evenings were sacred, filled with quiet conversation, the rustle of turning pages, and the profound comfort of their intertwined lives. Arthur Albright's legacy, though he was no longer physically present, continued to resonate profoundly. His foundation, now managed by a new generation of passionate architects, continued to fund Legacy Builds and similar initiatives, ensuring that the spirit of his vision of seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary lived on. Liam often found himself quoting Albright, recalling his profound insights into how design, when imbued with human connection, could truly transform lives. One crisp autumn morning, a special ceremony was held at the Chloe's Community Craft Corner. It was the 10th anniversary of its founding, and a large crowd had gathered, including many of the children, now young adults, who had found their initial spark of creativity within its colorful walls. Chloe, having flown in for the occasion, stood at the podium, her voice clear and resonant as she addressed the assembled community. 10 years ago, Chloe began, her gaze sweeping over the familiar faces. This was just a dream born from a little girl's desire to help her dad, and from a single act of kindness by a woman who saw potential where others might have seen only a sidewalk stand. She paused, her eyes meeting Liam's, who stood proudly beside Lydia in the front row. My father, Liam Vance, taught me the value of hard work, of perseverance, of dreaming big, even when resources are small. He literally sat there, day after day, watching me, protecting me, believing in every single bracelet I wove. Her voice thickened with emotion. He didn't just help me sell bracelets. He built the foundation of who I am today. He laid the groundwork for this very place, for every child who has found their voice, their talent, their joy, within these walls. She gestured towards Liam, a profound love in her eyes. This legacy, this craft corner, every smile you see on a child's face here, it all begins with his love, his unwavering support. The applause that followed was thunderous, a heartfelt ovation for Liam. He felt a wave of overwhelming emotion wash over him, a lump forming in his throat. He looked at Lydia, her eyes shining with tears of pride, and then at Chloe, radiant and strong, a testament to the power of their shared journey. All the doubts, all the fears, all the struggles of the past seemed to melt away in the warmth of that moment. Later that day, as the celebration wound down, Liam found himself standing with Chloe inside the craft corner, admiring a new mural painted by some of the program's young artists. It depicted a whimsical scene of children weaving colorful threads, overseen by a smiling figure who strongly resembled Chloe, and in the background, a subtle, almost iconic rendering of the magnificent treehouse. You know, Dad, Chloe said, her voice soft, sometimes I still think about that first bracelet, the blue and silver one. Me too, sweet pea, Liam confessed, a wistful smile touching his lips. It was just a bracelet. But it changed everything, didn't it? Chloe nodded, her gaze fixed on the mural. It wasn't just a bracelet, Dad. It was hope. And you taught me how to weave it. She turned to him, her eyes reflecting a deep understanding and affection. You were always my first customer, Dad. And you still are. Liam pulled her into a tight embrace, holding her close. The scent of paint and creativity filled the air, mingling with the warmth of their shared history. He was no longer just a struggling dad. He was a father whose quiet strength and unwavering belief had laid the foundation for a life far richer than he could have ever imagined. He had helped his girl sell bracelets, unaware that her first customer was a jewelry CEO. But more importantly, He had instilled in her the values of kindness, creativity, and community, values that now rippled outward, touching countless lives. The legacy wasn't just in the glittering charms or the vibrant craft corner. It was in the enduring thread of love that connected them all, a bond as intricate and beautiful as Chloe's finest design. The passage of another decade brought with it profound shifts and a deepening sense of the legacy Liam and Chloe had woven together. The Chloe's Community Craft Corner had become a national model, replicating its success in underserved neighborhoods across the country. Chloe, now a celebrated entrepreneur and philanthropist, split her time between her flourishing jewelry brand, which consistently pushed ethical and sustainable boundaries, and her unwavering dedication to law. Expanding the Craft Corner network, she had established a foundation named the Vance Spark, specifically to empower young artists and entrepreneurs from challenging backgrounds. Liam, his hair now a distinguished silver, had gracefully stepped back from the daily operations of the Craft Corner, entrusting it to a new generation of passionate leaders. He remained a guiding force, serving on the foundation's board and offering his wisdom and quiet encouragement to anyone who sought it. His days were filled with the quiet joys of retirement, long walks, tending to a small, vibrant garden he had cultivated in their backyard, and the cherished company of Lydia. Lydia, her spirit as bright and engaged as ever, had found a new passion in documenting the stories of the Craft Corner's alumni. She interviewed young adults who had found their voice, their career path, or simply a sense of belonging within the program. Her work, a rich tapestry of resilience and creativity, became a powerful testament to the ripple effect of Chloe's initial dream and Liam's unwavering support. Their home, once a beacon of quiet struggle, was now a sanctuary of shared memories, deep affection, and a profound sense of purpose fulfilled. Arthur Albright's influence, though years removed from his passing, remained a foundational element of their lives. The Legacy Builds program continued to thrive, and Liam often contributed to its annual reports, reflecting on Albright's philosophy of seeing the inherent value in humble acts of creation. He missed their quiet conversations, Albright's ability to cut through noise and see the essence of things. But he carried Albright's lessons in his heart, applying them to the countless small interactions that filled his days. One crisp autumn morning, as Liam sat on the porch swing, sipping his coffee, he watched a group of children from the neighborhood, their laughter echoing as they excitedly climbed into the famous treehouse. It stood as tall and proud as ever, its weathered wood telling tales of countless adventures. It had become a touchstone for successive generations of children, a place of wonder and imaginative play. Chloe, home for a rare extended visit, joined him on the porch. She watched the children with a soft smile, a nostalgic glint in her eyes. "Remember, Dad," she began, her voice a little hushed, "when I used to sell bracelets right out there, on that very spot?" Liam chuckled, a warm memory washing over him. "I remember. And I remember thinking, please, just let someone buy one." I had no idea that someone would be Vivian Dubois. Chloe reached for his hand, her fingers intertwining with his, a gesture of profound affection. "It's funny, isn't it? How a small act of hope can become something so much bigger. How a single bracelet could spark all of this." She gestured vaguely to the vibrant neighborhood, the distant hum of the Craft Corner, the life they had built. "It wasn't just the bracelet, sweet pea," Liam said, his voice imbued with a lifetime of understanding. "It was the heart you put into it. It was your spark. And it was trusting that spark, even when the world around us seemed a little dim." He squeezed her hand. "My job was just to protect that spark, to make sure it had a chance to grow." Chloe leaned her head on his shoulder, a comfortable silence settling between them. The sun, now higher in the sky, warmed their faces. The children's laughter from the treehouse drifted on the breeze, a joyful melody. Liam looked at his daughter, a successful, compassionate, and inspiring woman, and then at his beloved Lydia, who emerged from the house, a book in her hand, a soft smile on her face. His life, once so small and filled with struggle, had expanded to encompass a universe of purpose, connection, and profound love. The journey had been long, winding through unexpected turns and moments of both despair and exhilarating hope. From a struggling dad meticulously watching over his daughter's sidewalk stand, to a globally recognized architect's intervention, to a national movement of creative empowerment. The single bracelet, a symbol of childhood innocence and a father's unwavering love, had not just opened a door to financial freedom, but had become the genesis of a lasting legacy. Liam had helped his girl sell bracelets, unaware that her first customer was a jewelry CEO, but in doing so, he had woven a life of purpose, not just for his own family, but for countless others, proving that the most valuable treasures are forged not from precious metals, but from the unyielding threads of love, resilience, and the quiet power of a parent's unwavering belief. The story wasn't just complete, it was continuing, woven into the fabric of every child's dream, who stepped into the craft corner, and every hopeful knot tied in a bracelet across the world. The echoes of the 10th anniversary celebration for Chloe's Community Craft Corner resonated for weeks in the Vance household, a warm reminder of how far they had come. The mural in the craft corner, depicting the journey from a sidewalk stand to a thriving community hub, became a source of quiet pride for Liam. He often found himself lingering in the space, watching the new generation of young artists, their faces alight with the same focused determination he'd seen in Chloe years ago. He'd offer a word of encouragement, a gentle suggestion, embodying the role of a beloved elder, a testament to the transformative power of a simple act of love. Chloe, now a woman in her early 30s, continued to be a global force for good. Her designs under the Dubois Jewels brand were not only aesthetically groundbreaking, but also champions of ethical sourcing and fair labor, setting new industry standards. Her Vance Spark Foundation had expanded its reach, establishing similar craft and empowerment centers in diverse communities, from inner-city neighborhoods to remote rural areas. She was often featured in business magazines and humanitarian journals, celebrated for her innovative approach to combining commerce with social impact. Yet, despite her international acclaim, she remained grounded, her heart rooted in the humble beginnings that had shaped her. Liam and Lydia, their lives rich with experience and enduring affection, embraced their twilight years with grace. Their home, once a focal point of ambitious activity, settled into a peaceful rhythm. The garden Liam tended flourished, a vibrant tapestry of colors and scents that mirrored the richness of their lives. Lydia, always finding new ways to connect and contribute, began a project chronicling the oral histories of their neighborhood's longtime residents, preserving stories that might otherwise be lost. Their evenings were filled with comfortable silences, shared books, and the quiet joy of watching the stars from their porch swing, their hands often clasped, a silent testament to a love that had deepened with every passing year. The memory of Arthur Albright continued to be a guiding light. Liam often visited Albright's former home, now a preserved museum and educational center dedicated to sustainable architecture. He'd walk through the elegant rooms, reminiscing about their early conversations, the surprising revelation of Albright's identity, and the profound impact the architect had made on their lives. Albright's belief in the inherent beauty of human connection and the power of design to foster community resonated deeply with Liam's own life's work. One late spring afternoon, an unexpected letter arrived for Liam, adorned with a prestigious seal. It was from a renowned university, informing him that they wished to bestow upon him an honorary doctorate in community development, recognizing his unparalleled contributions to fostering entrepreneurship and creative expression in underserved youth through the Chloe's Community Craft Corner initiative. The letter cited his unique approach, his inspiring story, and the tangible impact he had made on countless lives. Liam read the letter, his hand trembling slightly. An honorary doctorate. The struggling dad who once worried about affording school supplies for his daughter, now being recognized by academia. He felt a surge of emotion, a mix of disbelief, humility, and profound gratitude. He immediately called Chloe, his voice thick with uncharacteristic emotion. "Dad, that's incredible!" Chloe exclaimed, her excitement palpable through the phone. "You deserve it more than anyone. You built all of this, piece by piece, with so much love." Lydia, overhearing the conversation, wrapped her arms around Liam, her eyes shining with pride. "Our quiet hero," she whispered, kissing his temple. "It's long overdue." The ceremony was a dignified affair, held in a grand auditorium. Liam, dressed in a borrowed academic gown, felt a moment of surreal wonder as he stood on the stage. He saw Chloe, radiant and beaming in the front row, beside Lydia. He saw old friends from the craft quarter, now successful young adults, their faces reflecting the hope he had helped to ignite. When it was his turn to speak, Liam, though still unaccustomed to public speaking, found his voice. He didn't speak of grand theories or complex models. He spoke from the heart, of his journey, of the unexpected turns, and of the fundamental truth he had learned. Years ago, Liam began, his voice clear and resonant. "I was just a dad, trying to make ends meet. My daughter Chloe had a dream of selling little bracelets. Right there on the sidewalk outside our apartment. I just wanted to protect her, to help her chase that small dream. I had no idea that a single act of kindness, from a woman who saw more than just thread and beads, would change our lives forever." He paused, his gaze sweeping over the audience. "This honor, this incredible recognition, it isn't just for me. It's for every child who has a dream, no matter how small. It's for every parent who struggles, but keeps showing up, keeps believing. It's for the power of unexpected connection, the generosity that sees potential where others see only limitation. And it's a testament to the simple, undeniable truth that the greatest impact we can have, the most lasting legacy we can build, is forged not with grand plans, but with humble acts of love, trust, and unwavering belief in each other." End quote. As the applause swelled, Liam looked at Chloe, their eyes meeting in a moment of profound understanding. He remembered the struggling dad, standing guard over a wobbly card table. He remembered the small, hand-woven bracelet that had sparked a revolution. He remembered the quiet neighbor who had seen beyond the surface. And he knew, with an unshakable certainty, that the true measure of a life was not in what one acquired, but in what one created, what one gave, and the enduring ripple of hope and connection that spread from a single, heartfelt act. The story, woven from humble threads and unexpected turns, had truly come full circle, leaving a legacy as intricate and beautiful as Chloe's finest design, a testament to the boundless power of a father's enduring call, love,